The president just signed a sweeping executive order launching the Genesis mission, a push to supercharge American artificial intelligence by going all in, mobilizing America's labs, scientists, and supercomputers to strengthen national security, tackle rising energy costs, and cement U.S. dominance in AI. Incredibly important.
This is reminiscent of the Manhattan Project that brought World War II to an early and successful end, similar to the Apollo projects that put a man on the moon in 1969. This is an all-in national effort to take the power of AI and pair it with the 40,000 outstanding scientists and engineers at our national labs to use the world's largest supercomputers to advance innovation and science, to fix our rising energy costs.
But today, a new question is emerging. Is America too dependent on AI spending? Fresh analysis shows AI-related investment may have accounted for half of all GDP growth in the first half of the year. I've been saying this. There's been kind of a repeated theory that the U.S. would be in recession if not for the AI infrastructure spending out there. Nevertheless, it is critically important to our national future, the race against China, but also just the productivity in our economy, that we spend and have a coordinated message and program out of this White House, which would not exist if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris had won.
That's exactly right. And you just hit the nail on the head about national security. Look at the internet back in the late 90s, mid 90s, early 2000s. The internet was not national security. The car, the wheel, all these technologies, had nothing to do with national security. This time is different. AI absolutely has everything to do with national security. And once it has that mentality attached to it, you can't pull back spending. And it is correct in that it is national security because you need AI, this brain, to be able to think for itself probably eventually in a lot of ways, aid your economy, aid your national defense in a lot of ways. So yeah, the spending is not going away. This is going to increase the liquidity. I brought up the stat earlier about the 8% correction in top to bottom with a negative 1% GDP decline because of the government shutdown. You have quantitative tightening ending. So all of this liquidity, again, into the system, we actually just added on the dip the past week or so, we added a lot of beta stocks. So we added OWL, TTWO. Yesterday, we actually bought Oracle. We wish we would have bought, maybe pulled the trigger this morning with a little bit of a decline this morning, but we bought Oracle actually this morning as well to add beta to our portfolio on this decline because of the liquidity spigot.
You said that AI spending shouldn't stop, right? Or it won't stop.
Right.
And I would argue it can't stop either. Dagan, to your point, pull up a tweet from David Sachs, the AI and crypto czar, where he said AI-related investment accounts for half of GDP growth. That's what you mentioned in the intro. A reversal would risk recession. We can't afford to go backwards. So yeah, Jackie, debate with me, because to me, this seems like, do I want an economy that's so dependent? We talk about, oh my gosh, 36% of the S&P 500 is Mag 7. That's not sustainable. Except I would argue, if this is the future, right? If you want to call me crazy, if this is the fourth industrial revolution, half of our GDP is now going to be AI. And I might say, okay, right, that sounds nuts that we're so concentrated. But if that's the future, maybe that's what this needs to be. You tell me.
Maybe. I don't know the right answer or the wrong answer to that. It's hard because we're moving on the train already, and it's hard to get the train. What do they say? You can't put the train back in the station? Something like that.
You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, Jackie.
That's a good one, too.
You can't put the horse back in the barn.
Okay.
Also hard to do.
And I'll add to what you're talking about with respect to the asset prices, the AI asset prices rising. But JP Morgan says that rising AI stock prices alone added $180 billion in consumer spending. We keep talking about the consumer, the wealth effect. If things are bad, then why are they out there spending? Because, Brian, you've said it before, on paper, things look good for most people. They feel that whether they're investing in individual stocks or it's in their 401k or it's in their pension. Now, they also say if those stocks fall, that poof will go away almost instantaneously because people will pull back and they will pull back hard. So it wouldn't just be the market seeing the impact and the stocks coming down, but it's the spending, and then that all snowballs.
There seems to be some interesting stuff, like just let's talk about like Google today. You know, Google's a stock we own. That's one of the only Mag 7 stocks we own. We have a very small weighting in Microsoft, and we have about a 3% weighting in Google. All the other ones we don't touch. But Google, you know, Meta, the news this morning about them using Google chips, maybe NVIDIA didn't have as much of a lead as everyone thought. Maybe Google was kind of stepping on.
You know what? This Google is going to wipe the floor with NVIDIA's story. It reads like a press release that Bloomberg and even you, Luke, are just regurgitating. It's kind of embarrassing. Let me go through some of the what's actually going on with Google.
I have more of an NVIDIA
So
thing.
Google released Gemini 3. Hey, it's pretty good, everybody who's actually used it. Pretty good isn't going to win the AI race. Claude still tops in terms of coding, and Anthropic just released Opus 4.5, dropped that yesterday. Claude Code still runs away with it, even compared to what Google has come out with. A lot of the narrative was, hey, we're training models and they're good or better than OpenAI, Anthropic, and they're not. So Google, it does have its own chips that it's developing, so it doesn't have to compete with all the other AI infrastructure and developers for NVIDIA chips, but it still needs fab time. It doesn't have its own fabs. It still has to use Taiwan Semiconductor for its fabs. Do you really think that Google's TPUs are better than NVIDIA's chips? Not any day, not anyhow. Google trained this Gemini 3 against benchmarks, which is cheating. You're training your models to perform well on specific tasks rather than being broadly used. It's like having the answers to the SAT and memorizing them and then getting a perfect score. Yeah, that's not how you train a model. So it's like memorizing all the answers that you had in advance. Well done. So this whole story about Google is overblown, and nobody has factored in that Google might be spending to put its current business model underwater. That's my
That was a
story.
really good take. I love that a lot, actually. But I will say the data Google has is astounding. Like how much data Google has compared to the other Mag 7 stocks. NVIDIA obviously can't touch Google's data, even close to coming to that.
Which is
So
taken
I think
from
that they
all
have an
of you,
opportunity.
which it is taken for free from all of you. I
Correct.
can't wait for the day until the American people wake up to the fact that they have become rich in a monopoly off of your back and off of your private information. Because it will end, and people will decide to give their information to somebody else. But go ahead,
New
y'all
web
get in
browsers
here.
pop up.
No, I'm good. I'm actually was just thinking I want to learn more about Crocs.